Today on the show, we find out the real meaning of I have friends everywhere.
Ooh.
Welcome to the Lost Cantina. I'm your host, Jaden.
And I'm Kevin. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome. We are here today to discuss episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Andor.
Yes, and we've watched the entire series now full, and I'm appreciating everything even more now.
Yes.
Especially as we speak about it.
It's incredible just how much they pack into 3 episodes.
Oh, I mean, they really are. They really are mini movies, like how they package it, and it's actually amazing. I know we were off by one, and we've had the 12 now, and oh man, it's like I got a new Star Wars movie every week. It was awesome.
Exactly.
I really wish Disney would have a way where they could you don't have to watch each episode individually. They could package it
into one long thing.
I'd eat that up. I'd eat that shit up. I would love it. But I do want to say something about now that we've watched the show. I think showing Ghorman, showing all the different, not just Coruscant, but showing Ghorman and showing the intensity of Ghorman as we go through these episodes. You'll see that we really delve into what it is to be Ghorman, like as a person, but also like a planet. Same with the next 3 episodes when we cover that too. But I just want to say that I think they did such an amazing job of culture building.
Yes.
I think it was a phenomenal job of building a culture and showcasing how different the galaxy really is, and how the Empire has this whole uniformity thing going on. And just we get to see the differences. We saw, Ferrix way back in the day. Now we're looking at Ghorman. Just all these different planets and different wardrobes, different songs, different speeches, languages, different food, different architecture. Just all of these things showcase that there's so much diversity in the galaxy, and the Empire really does have a lot of work to do to kind of suppress it and make everybody just, they're suppressing culture, and that's
they're trying to make everything uniform and conform, and nobody wants to.
They have done a great job of showcasing the diversity of the galaxy.
Yes.
It was worth it. But anyway, okay, we'll do that housekeeping for right now. Again, you can all follow us on all your socials. We are on all of them. And you can also email us at thelostcantinapod@gmail.com with questions. And you can comment in all these videos, comment and everything. We will answer them.
Yep.
But yeah, I would say, Jaden, I want to just ask you real quick. This was a little bit slower than the other sections of Andor, but I'm curious how you felt about the pacing for this one.
Honestly, the pacing of this one I thought was really well done, only because of what it was setting up. It was not in order to have the payoff that we have in the next couple episodes, we needed to have these setup episodes.
Yeah.
Which was really good. It shows, it shows Luthen's influence in building the rebellion. It shows that he's very willing to help sow the seeds in different areas. We're going to get into it, but there's a part where he jumps and he's like, Ghorman's in play. Oh my God, Ghorman's in play.
Yeah.
A rich core imperial world might be up for grabs. We got to do this.
Yeah.
Against even Andor, his most trusted lieutenant, being like, hey man, this is a dead end. They are not ready.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I think it's in this section. It might be in the next one. But they Luthen, just so you're all aware, Luthen has been getting in the years that we keep following this, he just keeps getting more and more information. And he says, I'll say this in the next one too, they're drowning. And so he utilizes a lot of the information they get, for his own benefit to try to figure out how to navigate this rebellion. But also, like, he has to send people out now because he's got to confirm specific things. There's just so much going on that he has to confirm things. And so Cassian is, his go-to guy. So
yeah, Cassian's his number one agent, number one field operative. And I think it's proven time and again, like he relies on him more than anyone else to get jobs done. Now, granted, we don't know. Luthen might have 10 people like Andor running around somewhere.
Yeah. Probably does. But I think
maybe not as good.
That's the thing. These episodes showcase just how good Cassian really is at what he does. So, all right, for those podcast peeps, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back. All right, we are back. Hello. Right. There's going to be a couple stories here. There is a big Ghorman story. Ghorman, for those who don't know, they are the planet where those spiders live, and they make all that beautiful French silk.
The beautiful Ghorman silk.
Yes. Ghorman are French. I know you mentioned that last episode. Ghorman are the French, and they know something about revolution, let me tell you.
Which is funny, too, because like when you look at the architecture in these episodes and like later episodes, like they look like French, like Paris chateaus.
Yeah.
And chalets.
Basically, it's like Space France. That's what it is, Space France.
Yeah, Space France. They even dress like the French resistance from like World War II.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So there's a couple stories. So there's the Ghorman story, but the Ghorman story includes Cassian's story of going to check out Ghorman to see if they are a viable resistance like hub.
Yep.
We have the story of
Vel and Cinta
post that, where they work with the Ghormans. We have Cyril and his story in Ghorman. And after that, we have two more stories. So we have Bix's story, and then we have a little Willman one.
Yeah.
Really small.
Which, do you want to talk about that one first? Or do you want to get it?
Yeah, we'll talk about Willman's first. And then we have a Mon Mothma, Luthen kind of
exchange.
Thing. Yeah. All right, so we'll start with Willman's.
Yeah.
So basically, what's going?
I'll
let you
Luthen.
Do it because this one you actually knew a lot more about this one than I did.
Yeah, Luthen sends him to like. He has a device that helps you steal Rhydonium.
Mm-hmm.
And he was under the impression that he was just going to go show Saw's rebels how to operate it and then leave. And they were like, "No, you're going to stay till we have this done perfectly."
Yeah. Well, Saw Gerrera is like, "I'm not letting you leave." And then he kind of hints where he sends a guy to learn from Willman because he's like, "Oh, you've done this before. You've clearly done this multiple times." Because Willman is good at what he does. So he says, like, "I don't want you to leave, not only because you're a good asset to have, but also like if I teach this other guy on my team everything you know, well, I don't need you anymore."
Yeah.
And like Luthen still has a bad relationship with everybody. It's just that the leaders of the rebellion have
they don't like him, and it's so funny because he's the only one actually doing anything.
Well, like they don't like each other in general. Like we know this later on, but just in general, all of these people that are in charge of the different rebellion facets, just like it's like a dysfunctional family. They just don't like each other, but they also really don't like Luthen. He's like the one uncle they're like,
they really don't like him, which is so funny because like that, Saw that whole speech about how he's got all these factions in the rebellion that aren't cooperating, and it's like, motherfucker, you're the one that's not doing the most cooperation.
Yeah. And we hear the term, like, I think we hear it more in the other one, but we hear like Calkite and like constantly, like people are always
going
saying
on
these
about
things.
Calkite.
Yeah. But okay, so Willman is really nervous because he's really good at what he does, but he's like, well, I'm gonna get killed. Saw Gerrera is gonna like fucked me up. And so he's been teaching this guy how to do the thing. It's a cool looking machine. I really like how they've.
It kind of reminded me of a vault like tumbler.
Yeah, it's really cool how they've created this new technology for Star Wars. There's like so much new technology that they're showcasing to us that one is janky looking because it's like, you know, self-made kind of shit, but also like I don't know. I just feel like it's one thing where we see the same type, you know, we see TIE fighters, we see this, we see the same technology. Now we're really getting to see like all the time in Andor, like every episode, something new. It's just kind of cool. I like the technology in Star Wars a lot. So to me, that's really fun. But yeah, so Willman is teaching this gentleman how to essentially use this machine to hack into multiple locations. But then they say, where are you going? Willman's like, I could do it better and teach him better if I know where he's going.
Yep.
And
because there's a bunch of codexes and symbols in there. They're like, it depends on which type of Rhydonium deposit they're going to steal from. And
Saw Gerrera's like, nah, I'm not telling anybody. Which makes sense. Like, don't tell anybody. Like, we're going to hit that next.
Operational security.
Yeah, security. It makes sense. It's smart. But Willman's like, fine, whatever. So he just keeps showcasing like where you know, doing each one. This guy's starting to catch it. And so in the story, Willman thinks he's finished, right? Like he's like, okay, I can't share too much. There's just too much information. And this guy convinces Saw Gerrera to tell him where they're going.
Yep.
And Saw Gerrera just kind of like has this conversation. He's just like sitting there, like he doesn't want to tell him. He's just like sitting there, like looking down, like, And the guy's like, look, like the kid's a genius. I think if I learn like how to actually pick the place, like this will be great. Like this is going to be amazing, like good assets, and we can do this.
Yeah.
So Saw tells the guy where they're going in air quotes. And, well, Willman teaches him, and he tells the guy that he's gonna. So Saw Gerrera tells this dude that he's gonna like get rid of the kid, right?
He's gonna kill Willman. He's like, hey, you know, accidents happen because the guy was like, hey, you know, Saw wants this kid back. You know, we made arrangement. He's like, hey, accidents.
Luthen wants him back. Yeah, Luthen wants him back. Saw's like, not really. I don't think so.
Yeah, he's seen too much.
Yeah, so that's the thing. He's seen too much, and so when they're done, Willman's like, yeah, I taught him everything I know about this location, whatever. And Saw Gerrera goes, oh, okay, cool, and whips out his pistol. He's gonna, you know, you think he's gonna shoot Willman, and Willman's like freaking out, and then he kills the guy that he taught him.
It's like that guy was a spy. That guy was a fucking spy. You piece of shit.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think Saw Gerrera's men know the protocol, and they know not to ask that many questions.
Yeah.
Even if it's for efficiency.
Well, just you're working with Saw Gerrera, you gotta know that he's a paranoid fuck. So like.
Yeah. Well, even for efficiency sake, he doesn't give up security for efficiency.
No.
And obviously we know he's kind of like an anarchist anyway. But he's gonna take security probably because he's so paranoid, he's gonna take it very, very seriously. So that's why he knew that guy was full of shit. Breaking security protocol. So he shoots him. And Willman's like, ah! And he's like freaking out. And so Willman ends up going with him. And he's able to, now I will tell you this. He's able to do the thing. He's able to hack into it.
He's able to get the Rhydonium. And we get a great speech from Saw.
Yeah. I could not listen to the speech. I was so focused on like, oh my God, is he going to do it? He's going to do it. Like, did you listen to the speech?
Yes, dude. It was so good. Oh my God.
Explain. Go for it. Because I was like, I was nervous.
No, just him talking about like, you know, that they're all basically dead. You know, that the rebellion's going to come for all of them. And, you know, they're burning up. And like the Rhydonium destroy. It's almost like the Rhydonium itself is fueling the fire of their own demise.
Ooh, okay. I like that. And mind you, Rhydonium is, well, you get high as fuck.
Yeah, so there's a shot where like he Saw gets right up into it and he starts like huffing it, and so then all the people now are like, hey guys, I don't think that's oxygen in his mask.
Yeah. Well, because Willman's got a respirator and everything on, and Saw's just like, woo, space huffing. Like he's so into it. And then he convinces Willman to take off the respirator, and he's like, breathe it in, that's freedom. And he's just like, ugh, and he's like super fucked up.
He gets super
like,
fucking high.
I'm fucking high. Like, it's
which
crazy.
Now that I've seen, you know, I don't want to say that. Never mind. That would spoil later episodes. I was wondering if that would come back to them, the Rhydonium huffing.
I mean,
for good old Will.
It fucks them up. That's all. Like, yeah, I don't know. I've seen that Seven Heaven episode. I know what happened. I know what happened.
Good Lord, a Seventh Heaven episode. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, so Willman, you know, they get their Rhydonium, and then they just get high. And I would just say let's segue into that next one, because apparently drugs are everybody getting high in the galaxy.
Yeah, because Bix can't sleep. She's still having flashbacks to the torture that she received on Ferrix from that interrogator.
Yeah, he fucked her
Dr.
up.
Gorst.
Yeah, he really fucked her up. So Cassian, the beginning of these episodes, when Cassian is with her, they're in a safe house on Coruscant.
Yep.
And that's where they've been living, and they've been waiting for Luthen to like give them orders.
Basically, they sit there. Luthen will flash a light in the window, and then they go do orders. I love that whole setup there. It was very cool.
And there's like a really cool knock and stuff when Luthen shows up, and they have code words and little things that they do. But Bix is struggling. Cassian keeps waking up, and Bix is not in bed, or she's like freaking out. And the first scene for this is she wakes up, and she thinks that somebody's in the safe house, and she goes to she got her blaster and everything, and she goes to kill whoever this is.
Yeah, and
Cassian shows up, and he holds her.
Dude, that whole sequence with like her like seeing a ghost Dr. Gorst in the room, like torturing the Imperial soldier who saw her face, so Cassian killed him.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Yeah. It was like, oh, like Cassian is right now, I think like Luthen kind of hints at this, but basically like Bix is becoming more of a liability than an asset to Luthen and Andor, because Cassian's protecting her more than he's protecting the rebellion.
Yep. And I will say, we can talk about it in the later episodes too, but he is her world. He is her galaxy, and he will give up the rebellion for her.
Yeah.
Even if it means that the rebellion that he's fighting for to protect her and him, even if he has to stop doing that.
Yeah.
So basically, she's a huge liability. She doesn't want him to leave. Cassian gets sent out to go to Ghorman, and she doesn't want to leave.
It's not that she doesn't want him to leave. She doesn't want to be left behind.
That too. That too. She doesn't want to be alone. She's paranoid.
But Luthen at this point knows that she's not effective, so she sends Cassian off on his own. And while that's happening, Luthen actually pays Bix a little visit, and I love the exchange there where like Luthen finds her drugs.
So real quick, she's been taking a quote sleep aid.
Yeah,
it is like fucking her head up. Like
it looks like she's taking Oxy, man.
She's taking Oxy / maybe heroin or something. I don't know. It's space heroin.
Space heroin.
Spice. She's taking spice, man. Star Wars spice. And what we see the effects are, it helps her sleep, but it's clearly addictive, and it's a muscle relaxant and all that shit. And she's doing it not when she needs to sleep. She's doing it when she's awake. And we see her just laying around. We see a really cool like little sequence of like, you know, daytime TV kind of like talk show stuff about the Empire and all that. And she's just like laying in a shitty mattress, like laying on a shitty mattress in the middle of the kitchen, junk all over the place. And she's just like laying there with a blaster staring at the TV. Depressed. Like she turns the safe house into a crack house.
Yeah.
That's what she does. And so then Luthen shows up. And I know you said you liked the exchange. Because you were talking to me about it when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like you really liked that. I know.
I liked it because like with when it comes to Luthen, you never know if he's going to help you or kill you.
Yeah.
because he kept saying, "I'm trying to get you back to work, Bix," and I'm like, and I know in his head he was doing the exact same calculation that he did when it came to Mon Mothma's friend.
Yep, exactly.
He was like, "How much of this, how much are we willing to do? Like, how much is Cassian being mad at me if I were to get rid of Bix worth the asset, like the value of keeping her alive and here?"
Yeah.
And he doesn't say that to her, but like you can see it in his freaking eyes, man. He's like,
"Oh yeah,
trying to get you back to work, Bix. What you doing over here, pal?"
When he finds the drugs, he looks at her and he's like, if you stop taking this, the dreams come back even worse. And he's like, you need to be careful with this. And he's like kind of hinting to her like, hey, you gotta get your shit together. You gotta get your shit together. Because I think the other thing too is like, she's not just a liability for their group and stuff, but she is the liability for Andor. And
yeah, that's what I've been saying, dude. Like, it's the biggest thing in the world is that she can get compromise him. Yeah, she could compromise him. So
anyway, yeah. So just so you're aware, this has now been, it's another year. It's BBY3. So she's
every episode, every 3 sets of episodes is another year.
Yeah.
Because I honestly, I think what happened is I think that this season was supposed to be, because originally Andor was going to be 5 seasons. I don't know if you know about this.
No, I wish.
It was originally going to be 5. They cut it down to 2. So I think what's happening here is that each one of these arcs was planned to be a full season, but now they've just taken the best bits of those seasons, condensed it into one, and put it out.
I want more.
I know, I do too.
Well, yeah, so this Bix thing is not a great situation. So post Ghorman, when all the Ghorman stuff happens, Cassian shows up again, and he's very worried because she clearly has had a major decline. She's using a lot more, and he notices this. But Luthen, I believe it was Luthen, gave them a gift. We see a really cool scene. You don't know who it is at first, but you see the doctor that she was
tortured by Dr. Gores too.
Yeah,
because here's the thing: Imperial Intelligence actually they promote him.
Yeah,
and they want him to pioneer a whole new method of interrogation going forward. So basically, the fucked up thing that he did to Bix is going to happen. Yeah.
There you go.
Fucked up thing, aka
no
torture.
Donuts and a cigarette. We're talking, space waterboarding.
Space waterboarding is going to happen galaxy-wide unless this guy is stopped.
Mm-hmm. So and that's the other thing. It's going to get worse. Like, we know it's going to get worse. Like, she knows that. And it honestly, like, it could happen to her again. Yeah, so it's like, it's really cathartic to watch her get her revenge, but at the same time, it's like, Luthen does this for her. He goes, all right, this is the best way that I can fix it. I've got this guy's, he probably had this guy's location for months, but like, it wasn't worth the risk of Cassian and Bix to go take this guy out. Yeah, no. But now he's realized, okay, if I get this done, then Bix will be able to sleep. Cassian will be able to work unhindered. He'll stop begging me to he'll stop begging me to have Bix come with me on missions that I know she's not ready for. Yeah. I do think the other thing too is like Luthen sees this as an opportunity to stop something for the Empire as well, because this guy is, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's finally advantageous for both of these things to happen. Yeah. So yeah, he gets the location for them, and we think it's her or him for Cassian. We find out it's Bix. She tortures the guy, and he doesn't know who she is. He's like, why do I know you? And then she tortures him the same way that he tortured her. Well, she leaves it running on max settings and then leaves. She's like, and he's just like, whoa, and she goes, boop, and then he's, it's pretty cool. She gets her revenge finally, and it's one of those stories where I always think to myself, they always say like, oh, revenge doesn't fix everything, but for her, oh yeah, no, this fucking worked, because she does that. She walks out of the building, no fucks given, shoots the guard, and then Cassian's next to her, and he press a button, and then boom, blows up the building. Yep, because they had put charges in the room that Dr. Gors was in, so the plan was always to kill him. Mm-hmm. But Bix was able to enact some cathartic revenge, which is lovely. Yeah. So her story's it's pretty good. It's nice because it's
gets her back to work.
It gets her back to work, but also it shows her that she can overcome whatever the hell she's going through, but also she can still fight. It proves to her that she can still fight.
Yeah, that she's still able to fight.
Exactly. So yeah, good story. But speaking of fighting, next we have the Ghormans.
Yes. So we're gonna start with. We'll talk about like. I love the sequence of like showing Cassian. He leaves the safe house. He gets a little earpiece on, and then it gives him his whole burner identity. It's like, hey, your name is Varian Sky. You're a designer. Here's your entire life story. If someone questions you.
Fun fact, the voice that's telling him all this is Sam Witwer.
Huh.
That is Darth Maul.
Wow.
/ Emperor Palpatine.
It's pretty busy, that Darth Maul Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah. So the whole thing is Luthen is curious about Ghorman.
Yes.
The Ghormans were sent some things.
They were sent one of the access compute radios, so like they could contact Luthen to give him information on Ghorman, and the information he's getting now is like, oh hey, Ghorman is in play.
Yeah. So the big thing here now is, remember, the Empire is planting the seeds of the Ghorman rebellion. They're the ones actually putting it together because they want to use it as an excuse to showcase, like, see, these rebels are so violent, they want to destroy everyone. We are order. We are the way to keep you safe.
Yep.
And that's their excuse to take over the planet fully and like martial law the planet almost. And then they can start mining. So we start with actually Cyril, because he is on the phone with his mom and he's living in Ghorman. He's been at Ghorman now for a year.
Yep.
And his mom,
and he's talking, and he's like refuting. She's spouting off a bunch of like propaganda, and he's refuting every bit of it. He's like, "No, mom, the Ghormans aren't that bad. Like you got to stop listening to the radio."
Yeah, and also
Space
she's
Fox
like,
News.
Stop listening to Space Fox. And she's like, "What? You didn't. This is not a promotion. This is this is you taking a demotion." He's like, "No, mom, this is actually a really great job. I like it here." He's being surprisingly optimistic.
Guys. They're great.
Yeah, he's being surprisingly optimistic, though. So, guess why? What do we think? He knows. He's being listened to. He gets it. And so he's hyping up Ghorman for the Ghormans that are listening to him, because they want to know if he wants to gain
he wants them to gain their trust.
Yes, he wants to gain their trust. Now, in the beginning of these 3 episodes, we do see his daily life, right? Like he's working here. He knows the people that he's, been talking to and stuff, like that he works with. He's got spiders that he buys. I guess Ghormans they take the spiders and they basically like mummify them and turn them into like little jewelry boxes and little boxes that they sell.
Well, I think they're not the actual spiders. I think they're like dolls made of the spider silk.
Okay, I thought it was the actual spiders, and I was about to get really grossed out. So I'm glad.
I mean, it could be. I don't know. I didn't really get a good look at them.
I don't like spiders. So the spider planet did kind of freak me out. French spiders, that's what they are.
The two things you're terrified of the most.
Well, no. I mean, the French spiders, that sounds like a cool hockey team, though. I like that one. That's good. Anyway, so basically he's doing all sorts of stuff, tying silk to his door, verifying that somebody opened it. He knows people have been in his house, all that stuff. So he ends up being invited to a Ghorman
rally
where they're talking to the leaders. I would say, I don't know if it's of the planet or representatives of like the city they live in or whatever, but you find out that Krennic is a piece of shit more than you thought.
Yep.
So there's a town square that everybody walks by all the time. And apparently Krennic, there were a lot of people that were like resisting the Imperials coming through and trying to control the planet. And Krennic decided to land his ship on top.
No, stop. It was Tarkin.
Tarkin, that's right. It was Tarkin, not Krennic. It was Tarkin.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's why it's called the Tarkin Massacre.
That's right. I apologize.
You want to take it from the top, or you want to keep that?
No. I'm good. We can go.
Okay.
Tarkin, you're right. So is Tarkin. I apologize. He lands on everybody and kills all these people.
He kills 500 people just because they wouldn't move out of the way of his shuttle.
Yeah. Just. So they have a giant memorial in the middle of the town square where it happened. And they had assurances that, the Empire wasn't.
No building would ever cast a shadow.
Yeah. Well,
on this memorial. Then
the
it turns
Imperials
out
are building something else.
They keep claiming it's like an archive, but everybody in the town knows it's an armory.
Yeah. And it's a big heated discussion. We meet a bunch of rebel characters for Ghorman. Young, old, and we have Cyril Karn just kind of standing there listening. And post-meeting, Cyril gets invited and gets invited to some other meetings afterwards. But they're trying to vet him if they can trust him, right?
Yep.
So Cyril, it's kind of the whole thing is that Cyril decides to be their man on the inside, right? And he's going to meetings, secret meetings, all that stuff. And he's trying to convince them that he can be their guy. Turns out he's working with Daedra on this. He is the mole that Daedra sends to try to help.
Yep.
And Daedra's she's like, all right, this is what you're going to do. Give me a briefing. He has a safe room in the building that he works at. He has a safe room. And that's where they meet via FaceTime. And that's the other thing I noticed, the FaceTime stuff. There's no holograms.
They're not holograms. There's a couple of holograms in certain spots, but for the most part, it's television screen for some reason.
Which is kind of cool and different, but it's in color. It's not blue. It's in color. So yeah, that's kind of Cyril's kind of situation, is gain the trust and keep relaying the information. So when Cassian Andor shows up, he knows none of this. But yeah, his whole thing is he's trying to see if they are ready to join the rebellion. Are they actually competent? And the way he goes about going through this is so sick. The way he goes about making a new identity and memorizing everything that he's
it's so cool. And he lives the role too. He's like, like a contact meets him and he's like, oh yes, thank you for meeting me. I know we are going to discuss fabric tomorrow. And they're like they say things just loud enough for other people to hear, but then they have the serious conversations at a lower register. It's really fun.
So he calls them out though, because the whole thing is like, he showed up, he gets into the hotel, and he talks about the Ghorman the massacre that happened in the town square with the bellhop. And the guy gives him some information, and he's kind of talking about like, okay, where am I? Explain what happened. And the kid tells him, my dad was part of it, and I watched it happen, and it's pretty sad. He's connecting with somebody, and he's understanding what it's like to be there. And so he's scoping the place out, right? He then ends up going to this like cafe, and that's when they meet the Ghormans, like meet him, and they approach him, and they do that whole thing that you said, like they try to like kind of like riff on him a little bit to try to like see who he is and stuff. But he berates this girl and calls her the fuck out, because he's like, you're lucky I am who I am, otherwise you'd be dead.
Yeah. How do you know it's me? Terrible. You didn't check in.
Yeah. He calls them out on all their mistakes, because he's like, you are clearly like green at this and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. I could have killed you. I could have, made it so you turn around and you're already arrested. You are not being secure at all. And it just shows, because that's the whole thing, is he's vetting them, right?
And so his whole job is to evaluate if they're strong enough.
Yeah. The whole point is like, is this a viable place? They have a lot of money. They're a great source of income for the rebellion. So it's like, they're a big deal in terms of like optics. Like
they're not supplying the rebellion with money yet, but they could be a big revenue source.
Yes.
They could be a great source of money for the rebellion. They could be a source of political influence. It's a very wealthy world. So, but if they can't get their shit together, and if they're going to be fools about it, they're going to get wiped out immediately, and then there is no rebellion in Ghorman.
Yeah. So they start showing Cassian some stuff. He goes to the shop. He gives them a key, essentially, to like, or an update for their radio. I say radio. It's kind of like our communication device that Luthen sent them, and it'll only work for them and all that stuff. And he's like talking to them about like, are you ready kind of thing. And they're showing him what they think they can do. They can rob one of the armory trucks, and they can utilize that and show everybody like, yeah, we can do it. And Cassian's like, this plan is terrible.
Yeah.
He's like, you are, one, not secure. Your security is terrible. Your trust is really bad because you'll just trust anybody. You don't understand what you're actually doing and what the Empire can actually do to you. And he's like, you guys, your plan is to showcase that armory is an armory, which everybody already knows it's an armory.
Yeah. So what's the point?
What's the point? Proving that they're lying, which you already know they are, doesn't really do much. And he gets kind of pissed. He's like, this is, and it's funny because they say, we have an Imperial spy that's helping us, but he doesn't ask about who it is. Which,
well, no, he knows. That's the thing, is he knows he's not going to get an answer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe he might. These people are stupid.
Yeah.
The Ghormans ain't the brightest, in my opinion, especially now. But Cassian ends up leaving. He gets pissed and he leaves. And he ends up going to Luthen. Luthen picks him up. And he's like, bro, no. Like, nah. Lost cause. They're not ready. They're not. This is not it. And Luthen fights him because Luthen, I think the thing about this conversation, they get in a really big argument. And I think the thing is, like, Luthen asked him to do a thing. Tell me yes or no. I need the answer. He gets the answer he doesn't want. And so he tries to push Cassian to give him the answer he did want in the first place.
Well, no, that's exactly it. He was like, he was really hoping for a win. And
yeah.
Cassian's like, nope, it's a dead end. And then Luthen's like, you go back and make it a win for me. And Cassian's like, no, I'm done. I'm not going back. Like that. I'm going to go take care of Bix. Yeah.
That's the other thing. He just keeps, that's when Luthen is like, oh man, I gotta fix this Bix thing. But that's the seeding of like, okay.
Yeah. Cause then there's a sequence too, where like Cassian goes back and confronts Luthen at his store because Luthen went and talked to Bix, and Bix tells Cassian. And Luthen's like, I thought she wouldn't have told you. I was hoping that you wouldn't be boring, but this is very boring.
And he's like, bro, that's basically my wife. What do you think? She's not going to tell me everything?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And like, when you got to remember, when you're talking to somebody in a couple, you're also talking to the other person. That's kind of how it is, because couples talk. But yeah, he wants to prove that it's not a waste of time. Yep. And he wants to like prove it. He wants to prove it to himself, if that makes sense. I think the other thing too is he knows that if it's not viable, they are hemorrhaging money. They're not doing great.
Yeah.
And so he needs the win. So instead of agreeing with Cassian Andor, he decides to send our good old friend Cinta to go meet Vel. So Vel's there. She's hanging out, and Cinta shows up, and they start talking. They haven't met each other in a while. This is a really sad story. I'm just going to tell you right away. This is really fucking sad. They haven't seen each other in a hot minute. Cinta got hurt, and so she's been out of commission for a while. And Vel is, I don't know, when they see each other, I just noticed there's spiders everywhere on that planet.
Yeah.
When Vel is there and she sees her, I mean, it's pretty emotional.
Yep.
They love each other.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And they're there now to take over for Cassian, basically.
Well, and I, they have this great conversation where they're basically like, Luthen keeps us apart because we're more useful apart. And Vel's like, well, maybe we should have a conversation with him about how that's not going to happen anymore.
It's a nice parallel with Bix and Cassian, because it's the same thing. Like, they are effective together, but they're also very effective separately. But when they are together, Luthen,
they're worried about each other.
Yeah, Luthen runs the risk that they're going to sacrifice the rebellion for each other. And to Luthen, the rebellion is everything. So he doesn't want to run that risk. But now that they're together, they work very effectively together.
Yep.
The whole point is they're going to train.
They back each other up.
Yeah. And Luthen's like, okay, I'm on board with what the Ghormans want. And I don't know if it's necessarily to showcase that he's there for them, or if it's if he actually thinks that what they want to do is correct. But they train, their whole point is that they're going to back the Ghormans up for this heist. And the Ghormans explain like what they're going to do, and they're like, hey, we got this area, we got this, we got that. And we go through this whole cool like heist kind of sequence. And both Cinta and Vel are like, yeah, you scoped the area correctly, you did some stuff correctly.
But there's big holes in your security with this.
Yes, there's a lot of holes. And then also there's two people who are youngins who...
They don't like outsiders giving them orders.
Yeah. They don't like outsiders. They don't like this. They want to do it their way. And Vel is like, no weapons. Nobody else has weapons but me and Cinta.
Yep.
And you need to listen to us. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem. And it's basically like Vel says, any gaps in listening to orders is going to make this fail. So you either shut the fuck up and listen to what I say, or you get the fuck out. And it's this blonde chick and this guy who kind of looks like Kylo Ren. But they kind of
a little bit. Now that you say it, a little bit.
Right? So they disagree, and then they kind of just shut up because they don't want to leave. They want to be a part of it, right? Personally, my take on that is I'd have kicked them out. I'd have been like, nope, you're done. I would, the moment of insubordination in a situation like this, you can't run the risk. Can't run the risk. Not if they're this green. It's one thing if you've been doing this a while and you have experience and you can actually say this stuff like, hey, I don't think this will work XYZ because, you know, I've been on 20 missions with you and you can trust my input. No, these people have never done anything like this. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
So we go to the heist. And the heist, it goes pretty well. It's going well. It's happening. Until the gentleman that was arguing. Yeah, until the gentleman who was arguing at the town hall with their leader, he shows up and the boy is like, hey man, fuck off. Don't worry about it. Turn around. Because we see the girl grabs this old lady. She's like, but my house is right here. And she's like, no, let's go. We're going to go this way. And then this guy shows up and he's like, get out of here. And he doesn't approach him very well. He doesn't say like, you know, hey, please move along. He just like tells him to go fuck himself and leave, which then, you know, escalates the situation because he's a young kid trying to be like all macho and shit. So then, some bad stuff happens.
A gun, the kid turns out brought a gun with him. The gun goes off. And I thought it shot the innocent civilian guy, but no.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
Worse, it shot fucking Cinta.
Mm-hmm. And Cinta dies right away.
Yep.
And Vel's like freaking out. And you can see Vel like have that whole tinnitus situation. She just sits there and it's just like, holy shit. Because the other thing too is that night before or earlier, two of them like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. They get it going on. And that's the last time they're with each other.
Yeah.
And you get this really great speech, though, from Vel because they escape. Everything, the heist goes
The kid feels terrible. He starts crying.
Well, the heist goes correctly. Everything that they try, like the heist-wise, goes correctly besides one person dying. And it's their fault. And so the kid's crying on the vehicle that they're in. And man, does Vel fucking give it to him. Does she go off. And it's a good speech. I don't know. I thought you liked it too. I don't know.
I did. I was like the don't you cry.
Yeah, the don't you cry thing is crazy because she like yells at him and is like, don't you cry. You have to live with this your whole life. Like you now have to live with her following you, her death, and her as a person following you the rest of your life. And she like gets in his face and pretty much like was like, you didn't fucking listen to me and I fucking told you to listen to me and you didn't fucking listen. And it kind of just proves this kid is like, you know, hey.
It was more of like, and I think it was more of like a make her death worth it kind of speech is what it kind of felt like.
It was, totally was, absolutely. It absolutely was. And I think it did. I think it was depressing as shit though, that like she has to scold and berate this kid for not following orders while also like
mourning the loss of her love.
And I mean, you knew she wanted to fucking shoot that kid.
Yeah.
But like
the mission of getting Ghorman in play was more important.
Exactly. And that's kind of like, that's just kind of like, you know, it ruins the whole thing for her. But I think Luthen, because we don't see this, but I think Luthen will probably, I think Luthen is, I don't know. I think he feels, what do you, I want to know what you think about this, but I think Luthen probably will feel like it's going to make Vel more effective.
It'll make Vel more committed to not have the distraction.
But also, Cinta was his, like, assassin.
Cinta was his hatchet man.
Yeah. So it's like,
Cinta was the, I'll kill whoever you need me to kill.
Yeah. So I think we don't really see how Luthen, like, handles the whole thing, but it's a tough one. It is a tough one.
Yep.
So basically, yeah, that's the beginning of the Ghorman stuff. The Ghormans are just now starting their quote unquote rebellion.
Yep.
But then back on Coruscant, we got Mom Mothma and her piece of shit husband. He's a fucking dick. I hate that guy. I hate that guy so much. The actor's awesome. I fucking hate you as a character. Great. Like, your character's who I noticed. Have you noticed that he just continuously just keeps drinking?
Yeah. He's the trophy husband of a bureaucrat, man. He's just gonna enjoy being drunk the whole fucking time.
Yeah. He's very full of himself, but I think he also plays the part well in terms of, like, he knows he has to go to these parties and these events, because the whole thing is like,
he's very good at being a diplomat's spouse.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to play the part of that very well. He just doesn't know how to be an actual human husband.
Mm-hmm. Basically, there's all these parties going on, and with the Senate and the oligarchs and all that stuff. And he knows
basically the Senate has like this thing where it's like, when you're a new senator, you throw a giant wild fucking party.
Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of new senators all of a sudden. I wonder why. Yeah. Maybe one party system showing up. Who knows? So basically, also this episode is really cool. So one of the things that we get is the understanding that the quote unquote Republic is still technically there, but it is now in the guise of the Empire. But the Republic, it still exists, and it's kind of like how the Imperial, like the Empire itself, tries to like make the Senate feel like it's still, you know,
effective
something. Yeah.
The Senate has very little power in this world, but they're made to feel like they have power.
Exactly. And so the whole point is like to make it feel like the Republic never truly left. It just got restructured a little bit. It's kind of cool how we understand it. But basically they're going to these parties, and he understands, like, yeah, I gotta keep going to these parties. So they go to the party of Davo Skolden, who is, you know, the rich guy that their kid is like involved in.
Yeah.
So all the capital elites are invited, and we're talking like Lonnie is there, or Krennic's there. Luthen gets invited. Clea goes with Luthen. I'm trying to think who else goes.
Well, why is Luthen and Clea going there, Kevin?
So they're going because they find out they have a microphone like kind of thing set up, a listening device set up in one of the devices.
One of the artifacts that they sold to Skolden's collection.
And so that way they can overhear what he's doing, because he is a money, you know, he's part of the rebellion in terms of he helped get Mon Mothma's cash going where it goes.
Well, he's not a member of the rebellion. He's not a member of the rebellion. Money grabber.
Yes. And so they want to know what he's up to. So they overhear that one of the pieces that he has in his collection is a forgery or a
And that
deemed
pisses him off
forgery.
so much that he wants to get all of their pieces evaluated after the party, which includes the one that has a listening device that goes directly back to Luthen and Clea.
Yeah. So they're there to basically go to the party and try to remove it before the party ends.
Which is great too, because somehow Lonnie also got invited to the party.
Mm-hmm.
The
Well,
ISB
it's a
agent.
it's a fancy thing. All the higher ups are going, and I think it was somebody. I forget who got invited.
Partagas got invited, but he just
Yeah.
threw them the tickets instead. He's like, I'm not going.
Yeah. So they're all there, and everybody's like kind of chatting. It's kind of interesting to see like everybody more loose, and like even the Imperials are just kind of like, "Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, cool. We're at this party," and they're like ISB agents that are usually like, "Yes, you are going to be drinking alcohol now."
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Why
like,
do they all sound
they're
like
all
Alan
like
Rickman?
chilling. It's weird to see how they're just kind of like loosey goose. But yeah, so Mon Mothma's there. She sees Luthen, and she's like, "Fuck you doing here?"
Yeah.
And it's like, "Why are you here? What's happening?"
And Clea's like, hey, you're gonna help me out here.
Well, she says that, and then she says it goes to Lonnie. And Lonnie's like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah, she's like, you, and it's great too because like they always have a contingency plan for everything. So she was like,
Yeah.
you came to my shop, you were looking for something for your wife. If anyone asks, we're flirting.
Yeah, and so we get this really cool sequence of like a party sequence, and they're meeting, and it's like kind of like Game of Thronesy, you know, everybody's like chatting it up. And so basically Clea needs to go to this piece, and she needs to remove the device. While she goes to start removing the device, it's really interesting because the actual art piece that they have, artifact, it is a planet where if you were blind, you are considered to have a gift. And so it's a lot of the whole piece is to be touched, and you're supposed to like kind of like feel it out and learn the story. It's a book, but it's basically space braille.
Yep.
And it's fucking cool looking. It's a big like circle and everything. It kind of looks like if you've played Jedi Survivor and those games, in the start menu, there's like this maze looking kind of thing where like you fill out all your stuff. I think more in Fallen Order, and that's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
So while she's trying to get this device out, a certain somebody shows up. The worst somebody.
Director frickin' Krennic. I love him popping up like he's a boogeyman. It's so
great.
Good.
Honestly, like I didn't think he was that scary in Rogue One. I think because he like is kind of like, you know, Vader's there and he, you know, tells him off and all that stuff. So I'm like, oh, it's just another Imperial. Like when you're around Vader and Palpatine, nobody's really that scary because, you know, you don't.
He's scary in this series, man.
Oh yeah, he's a freak. He's malicious as fuck, and he's like super like. It reminds me of like letting the wolf in the sheep den kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Well, like he's scary.
So in the scene he's like debating with Mon Mothma like the massacres that have happened in ancient times.
Yeah.
And you know he's like, "Oh, it was a great battle. We studied at the academy." And she'd be like, "It was a massacre." He's like, "Well, that's one way you could put it, but like I don't think they would describe it that way."
Yeah, he like tries to fight her. They start it's when you're in a group where everybody's like kind of like vibing a little bit, and Luthen's there, like they're all there, and then it just becomes like a political discussion.
Everybody else doesn't want to talk about it, but like the two of them are really interested in talking about it.
And they go all back and forth, back and forth. You have the fascist and the progressive leftist just keep going, bow, boom, 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 and the whole group is just like, oh my god, oh no, guys, look, a statue, and like everybody's like, ugh. But the issue is they're making their way to Clea, and she hasn't removed the little sound device yet.
Dude, she breaks her hand trying to get it out.
It's stuck. And Lonnie's like, I'm leaving. And she's like, don't you fucking move.
Yeah, she's like, if you move, we're all dead.
Yeah. She bleeds. She can't get it out. So then finally she does eventually. But that's a tense sequence. That was really freaky. I'm not going to lie. That kind of, I was like, Oh no, oh no, oh no. But yeah, she gets the codex thing open, gets the device,
and it's great because as they're walking away, she and Luthen are like, we should have fucking killed Krennic while we were in there.
Yeah. It's overall, I think the episode, that episode specifically, that was pretty good. Like, it ended pretty well on that note. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a very build up story. It's kind of like a little bit of everyday kind of, what are we doing? How does this work? Where are we at in the rebellion? Where's everybody kind of going on information? It is more of a setup for everything. It feels slow, but it's a little tense. And everybody's fucking high.
Yeah.
So before we get into our kind of like riff about how we felt this section went, we're going to take a quick break. But yeah, we'll be right back.
So Kev, what did you think of this? I almost said episode, but this series.
Well, yeah, this movie.
Part 2. How about that?
Yeah. Part 2 felt, again, we're building upon what is to come. Like, it's the setup for the big one, because part 3 is intense as fuck.
Yeah.
So it is the build up, which I appreciate. I liked seeing now, like, okay, Cassian is officially like his go-to infiltrator. We see Cassian's skills. He's like a fashion designer. He looks fucking sick as fuck. He looks cool as hell. Like, all of it looks great. I like the establishment of Ghorman. I love, even with not just showing Ghorman, but showcasing like the living quarters on Coruscant, showcasing the party and the artifacts and everything. I love that this is building upon a diversity of culture of the universe, and it's fleshing everything out. I found that to be the most fun about it, because I liked to be able to just sit there and analyze like what I was seeing that was all totally new for multiple planets and stuff. So that was my favorite take of it. But yeah, I mean, it's just, they're building it up. They're getting it ready. They're kind of establishing the base for what's to come. And I think they did it pretty well. I think the pacing was a bit slow, but I think they wanted to take their time with it, which I appreciate. I don't know. What about you?
Like I'm gonna echo what you said. I think that the world building of this was just super fun. I liked seeing. I wish we had gotten the 5 seasons, because it would be nice to see more of this stuff. Like, I like watching Cassian operate. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen like the many lives of Cassian Andor that he's had to put on for this rebellion. You know?
Oh yeah.
I would have loved to have seen more of that. But yeah, I think I just think this is a great episode and a great series, man. I think we're just really lucky that we get to see this, great idea that's been moving forward. And I can't wait to see what happens with Ghorman.
Yeah. Well, I also will say, I think the big storyline was more important than people realize.
Yeah, I think it put them back on the right path, I think.
Yeah. But I also think it showcases the big thing that Luthen knows about is Cassian Andor will give up the rebellion for Bix.
Yep.
She is his galaxy. She is his world. And if she was like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, he's like, okay, cool.
He keeps trying to get, like, there's several times where he's like, after this I'm out. After this one I'm done.
Yeah, you can tell like that's his mindset.
The toll that it's putting on Bix. He's like, I just don't want to put you through this anymore.
Yeah, and like, he's been through so much shit, but to him, he's like, I can keep going. That's fine. Okay, yeah, I can keep going at this point. And he doesn't like how Bix is, it's affecting her.
It's affecting her. It's destroying her.
Even if she says, oh, I can do stuff, I can do more, I want to fight the Empire, he knows that like it's taking a toll.
Yep.
And I think Luthen is like worried, but also Luthen is very aware of how the Empire, the rebellion can just go belly up without Cassian. He knows how important Cassian is. And I do think that this, even though it's set up and all that stuff and all that, I think this is also meant to show how important Cassian is, like with his skill sets.
Yeah.
And it showcases how he is a rebel spy
He's he's like one of the bigger assets of the rebellion at this point. At this stage
big
of the war.
deal. He's a big asset, but also he he is worth his weight in like whatever the fuck. Like that's the other thing. Like I think Luthen is like he knows that he'll do whatever he has to keep Cassian.
Yeah.
So, but I also do think that this showcases that Luthen is operating a little bit also I don't want to say his strategically how he operates, we kind of have an idea. It's a little bit self-interesty, but I also think that like he wants it so badly that he also kind of almost blinds himself for Ghorman. Like he wants it because like he needs the win. He's like, I gotta have wins. I can't lose more and more. So his ego is a little, which comes into play later on. But
well, it's funny with Luthen as a character. I love his character because his character is flawed, and he knows it, and he is the first person to tell you that.
Yeah,
like people will come in and like, oh my god, Luthen's so hard. He's like, I don't give a fuck how hard it is.
Yep.
You think is this easy? No. I have to be a bad person for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this either, but we gotta. We're already here. Everything's in place. We gotta start this party. We gotta light the candles.
Yeah. I also think while Luthen has his pride, again, like you said, he's very self-aware of it. And I think that the pridefulness got into the way of Ghorman. And I think when I watched that, I remember I texted you and I was like, see, lost. Like he lost. I personally say he lost Ghorman right there not just when Cinta dies, but I think it showcased that Cassian was right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is he did it anyway. He didn't listen to Cassian.
These guys were not ready to follow orders.
If he doesn't trust Cassian, then like, what is he like? What, bro, that's your.
Well, the thing is that he trusts Cassian. I think he trusts Cassian, but I think he's more of just like his ego won't allow him to see this as a failure.
Well, exactly. But that's what I'm saying is like he sends Cassian to do the job, and then he dismisses everything that just because he didn't get the answer he wanted. And I think that the ending of that showcased like Cassian was right. Like, yeah. But also we know information too that they don't know, which is Ghorman is a setup, and Luthen, this is the one time I think like Luthen did fall into the Imperial trap.
Yep.
And that's the big one. So yeah, overall though, I mean, there's a lot more to unpack than you realize in these 3 episodes, but yeah, overall, I think it was good setup, ready to go.
All right, guys, that about wraps it up for us. We really appreciate you guys listening to this episode. We have more to come. We have some more exciting episodes to talk about, and we get to talk about the future of Andor and his friends, where they might end up. It's going to be fun discussing it. If you'd like to talk with us, please feel free to reach out to us wherever you get your podcasts. Leave comments, send emails. We love to read them. Kevin, where can they reach out to us at?
You can find us on all your socials at The Lost Cantina. But you can email us at thelostcantinapod@gmail.com.
That sounds like a fantastic way to get a hold of us. We love reading all of your comments.
It's fun. It's fun interacting with everybody.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.